hold in the joystick for as long as you can until it stops. There you go. You're just big chilling.
It like adjusted itself.
You're just big chilling.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another MC review. I am joined by
Jonah Morgan.
And today we're here to talk about in this different area, the same room as we normally have,
Same
just
room.
a whole bunch of
Remodeled.
But we're here to talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the most recent MCU movie, and the conclusion of Phase 4. So where are we going to start with this movie?
Start bad.
Yeah, let's, I think we're really...
I was kind of thinking intersperse.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do this.
But I think you can kind of say one thing about this movie right off the bat. The beginning is slow.
I think
At least
a lot
in my
of this movie
opinion.
is slow.
I think this movie is slow.
The first 2/3 of this movie is very, very slow, and honestly, just the whole movie.
The best part of the movie is the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like the mid-credits.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Even in that final entire act, it's like this entire movie is not only slow,
It wants to be slow.
yeah, but that's kind of one of the bigger things about this movie is I don't think it's paced very well.
It does. The pacing is very odd, but I get why. I mean, the movie slows down, so it gives actors time to actually act.
Yeah.
The acting is
And
really
the acting is very, very
Uh-huh.
good.
Queen Ramondra's actress, I forgot her name.
Yeah, everybody.
But
Angela Bassett.
She had it's Angela Bassett. She has that one where she fires a Koye.
Yeah,
Good scene.
Yeah.
whew.
She's really good.
I also like the beginning scene with her when it's like that press conference and people are like calling her up, like, "Oh, why are you not giving this vibranium?"
She's
And
a
she
good
goes,
actress.
"Well, this is why." Turns in
Yeah,
mercenaries,
yeah.
and basically just like,
No, she's a good
got
actress.
nothing to say now, huh? I was like, "Oh, starting there."
Yeah. Every character in this movie is the acting is just really
And I was
well done.
very surprised they. Oh, really? Really quick, I should probably say this. Major spoiler warning, because this movie did just come out. But I was very surprised that they killed her.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that.
I wasn't expecting that at all, but I mean, I guess it just kind of
It gave a motivation to how Shuri acts later.
Yeah, it gives kind of Shuri some more character
And who she
development.
sees,
that happens.
we'll talk about that. And who she sees when she drinks the herb.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It's pretty bonkers.
The song from this movie stuck in my head though. The Rihanna song that's in the end of the credits.
Didn't she come out of retirement to do this song?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty much.
What we talked about before, Okoye's
Good.
once again the best.
Okoye's sick.
I love when she just shows up in the bathroom and it's like, I told you 5 minutes. I gave you 6. I love how Riri reacts when she's like, "You brought a spear in here."
You bald devil woman. That's the one character that I wanted to be better than he was. And Baku was good, but he wasn't in as much of it as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
I love him.
I thought he died for a second because when he gets punched, I thought he punched like through his chest, but his chest armor is just really big.
It just knocks the wind out.
No, I wanted him to be bigger than he was. He was still very good. He just didn't serve as big of a part as I thought he was going to.
Both M'Baku and Nakia kind of took a backseat.
I like
Nakia.
Nakia too.
I
I thought she was a great character.
Yeah.
I like that she got to do a little bit of the whole espionage,
Infiltration.
spy, infiltration thing. That was
It's
cool.
pretty cool.
That was really cool. Also, she's hot. She's fine.
You want to talk about good acting? Shuri.
Yeah, Shuri.
I think she's
her
very
character development in this was so good.
I will say it's one of the best developments for a
the-
character in Phase 4.
The way they've developed her character is really good. And I hope they don't kind of just cast her to the side after this movie. I hope she continues to fill the Black Panther
She
role.
will be the Black Panther until things happen.
Until stuff happens.
Which we'll talk
probably
about
some
at the end.
wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey.
Yeah, Kang, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that at the very end. But yeah, her actress sells it because
I forgot her name.
Huh?
I forgot her name.
Letitia Wright.
Yeah,
Letitia, that's right. I've heard that.
Yeah, her actress really sells it, and especially her interactions with Namor.
Yeah,
Namor's the best part of this movie. to me.
Yeah.
I think Namor's the best part of this movie.
I would agree.
Yeah, he was interesting.
Although the scene where they're looking at a city is too drawn out. I will say that.
Yeah, that was very.
That's
long.
And a lot of the
long
middle of the
scene.
movie is when I started noticing.
And like
slow.
his origin, and then seeing the city.
Yeah,
that was really drawn out.
Into his origin, which I guess is fine because it's not the most well-known character.
No, because it's one of the first.
And
characters.
people need to get used to this character because this character can beat Hulk.
Which I remember seeing
easily.
People were complaining about that. People were like, oh, they're just overpowering it for the MCU. I'm like, no, you haven't read a comic in your life, have you? Namor has beaten Hulk in the comics.
Probably a couple times.
Yeah.
He could probably get Thor.
He's sick unless you put him in the desert, apparently. And then
he's a force to be reckoned in the comics, and they do his characterization well. Is like he's really like he's cool unless you like mess with him.
Yeah,
and they do. He's territorial,
and they do change parts of his character, like making him from like Talokan instead of Atlantis, which I know some people complaining about, but I'm just like, is it really that big of a deal? It's still the same character.
He's just
same motivation.
He's cooler Aquaman.
Yeah,
he's cooler Aquaman.
It's a cool way of distinguishing him from Aquaman.
Because he can have. My dad doesn't like the wings. I will say that my dad does not like the wings.
They're a little goofy.
Have you heard? Did you like? Wow! I just had like a seizure. Did you notice like what sound they make? It's a rattlesnake.
Yeah, straight up. It
because
really
in that culture, like in real life, snakes are like gods.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's what they call him. Like the name they call him is like some sort of like Latin American language for like serpent god or something like that, right?
The feathered serpent god.
The feathered serpent, and yes,
cool
god.
Yeah.
And so his wings make a rattlesnake noise.
Yeah. But yeah, I think all the characters were really well developed, especially the introduction of Riri Williams as Ironheart.
I liked her. She was good.
I wasn't a big fan of her in the comics, so I wasn't really worried when I was worried but excited that she was going to be in this movie, and after seeing the movie, yeah, I really liked her. I thought you want to talk about a good actress, she sells it.
Yeah. I'm going to close the door real quick. She got a Power Ranger looking suit.
That's what everybody's saying.
Oh, they're in her Ironheart suit? I didn't think it was very Power Ranger looking.
It was something looking.
It was interesting.
Everybody's saying it's like her suit looks like a Power Ranger, and I'm like,
I don't see it.
I don't either, but
it looks more like a Power Ranger than it looks like Iron Man.
It fits with how Ironheart looks, but I can still see where you're coming from. I like it though. I like the suit.
No, I don't hate it. I like it.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from though.
You know Soups.
Yes.
Have you seen the video he made about this movie?
About what?
He dragged this movie because of how they handled Chadwick's death. Because Black Panther in this movie dies in the same way that like Chadwick actually died, and he didn't like that. Shut up.
I can understand why, because a lot of people don't like that because of they feel like they're profiting off of Chadwick's death. That's the reasoning everybody says for not liking it.
I kind of. I thought
I
they were
can
gonna
get it.
do
I don't
some
agree.
sort of,
I don't agree, but I can understand it.
I thought they were gonna make it like a he died in battle type thing.
I would have honestly preferred if he died in battle. I like what they do here. I would have preferred if they go in battle, but they handled it well enough, so I'm okay with it.
And overall, I think this was a good story.
It's a great story.
I think the only thing
if it was paced really, yes. If it was paced really well, this would be great.
Pacing kind of brings this movie down.
I thought the action was great.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed a lot of the action.
CGI actually didn't look
CGI looked great. There was not like I've only seen it one time, but I never noticed anything.
There was no like, oh my gosh, Yelena got dragged back by a
wire.
Cord.
Yeah, nothing like that.
It all looked good.
Yeah.
I agree.
It had to, or else people would have quit Marvel.
But then you still have people that would have done it anyways because it's Marvel. And people complain about anything nowadays. Since we did touch on that, the fact that this movie, in the first not even 3 minutes, essentially starts off and like T'Challa's still technically alive and then he dies. Like we just said, it's a very similar way to how Chadwick died.
I really like how they handled it. I like that they didn't show him. That would have been weird. If they had tried to show him, making him CGI or like only showing like the back of his head or something, that I like that they didn't show him. The only time you see him is when it's in the coffin.
Yeah. But I thought the way they handled it was making it a very similar death to Chadwick, to straight up saying that he battled with the disease secretly. Yeah. So I know a lot of people have issues about that, saying that they profit off of
People
Chadwick's death, but Chadwick's own family helped. Like,
his wife okayed what they did.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm like...
everybody's going to oh, well, his brother said he wanted them to be recast. Okay, and the wife said she was okay with what they did
More
here.
people would have been mad if he had been recast.
Right. In a way, he kind of
You could not have...
We'll talk into that.
You could not have done anything with that and not made at least a group of people.
Yeah, so
there was nothing
there was nothing that could have been done.
This is
Right.
one of, if not the best way they could have handled it.
Yeah, I think it's
and they
completely
handled it
fine.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to continue it somehow, and they did it the best they could.
Also, with we were pretty much correct in that the actors were trying to throw people off by saying they hadn't guessed who the new Black Panther was correctly yet.
Because it was obvious.
It was obvious, yeah, because it wasn't any sort of different combination thing or whatever. It's Shuri.
I
straight up Shuri.
But I guess they're like, oh, you didn't guess Shuri and this little kid.
Yeah, this little
we'll
kid,
talk
right.
about that here in a second.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe that's why. But I think the Black Panther suit looks very cool.
I like how it looks.
I
Yeah.
like it. It really is cool. It looks not as good as Civil War. I think it looks better than the suit in Black Panther.
I liked it, except for there was no eyes.
There were. You just could barely see them.
It was a little off-putting.
They were like
Yeah,
It was a little off-putting.
you could see them. It's just
That's
very
the only
much
thing about
that was the only thing. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. But with how she becomes Black Panther when she goes to the ancestral plane.
This was my one prediction for the movie.
I did not expect this at all, but who does she see?
The GOAT,
Killmonger.
the greatest villain in
Yeah.
Marvel history.
I
You could tell. Okay, so you can see his hair above the throne,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be it looks like the Queen's like
which is what I
the
thought
hat,
it was at
I
first.
guess. That's what it's supposed to be, and it's just it's his hair that he
And
would
it
have. in the
starts going
first
around and you see Killmonger, and I went,
And so they
Yeah.
did the Spider-Man No Way Home thing where they edited him out of a shot because it's her standing in the throne room with all the flames around her. They edited him out of that shot.
Yeah.
They did it again.
Yeah.
They did it again because he's standing directly in front of her in that shot.
Yep.
I love that scene. Is very well crafted, and I would have been surprised if they hadn't found a way to bring him into this movie because he probably really wanted to do this movie.
I think so.
because
I think he wanted to be a
was
part of it.
I think he was the closest to Chad.
Oh, he was best friends with
Yeah,
Chad.
they were
Yeah.
like buddies.
I think he was the closest out of everyone in that cast because I remember after he passed, I think he took it the hardest.
Oh, absolutely.
They all took it really hard, but I think he took it the hardest. Is there anything else aside from the? The fight scenes all throughout this movie are really good.
I like it. A lot of water bombs.
Yeah.
Big boy water
Big
bombs.
water.
Big water.
But I do like the final fight between Panther and Namor.
They
where
both-
it's they both kind of form an alliance. Not alliance. Well, yeah.
Physically and what the heck? They both died. she gets stabbed
And it kind
she
of
gets
walks it off.
in the
stabbed.
same spot Killmonger
Yeah, in
gets
the
stabbed.
same fashion.
I think that's the
does.
point. She gets
It was
stabbed in the
probably a
literal
callback.
same exact spot.
There's a lot of callbacks to the first.
And then
Black
she
Panther.
takes it out like Killmonger does.
Yeah.
And what does she do?
She lives.
Not only lives, but does a backflip after it.
Because the suit heals over.
But
the
you can
wound.
look. If you look, you can see where the the suit kind of seals over the wound.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah, I noticed that because I was like, okay.
So
it's
maybe
just
that-
blooded.
plugs in, and maybe that's some
And then
technology she
Namor-
has
Namor,
that suit
like-
didn't. Because obviously,
Namor got burned a lot. That was surprising to me. He literally gets burned alive and is like,
And he's fine. The next thing, I think it's because it's like a.
He's
Jackson thing.
Namor.
You stick him in water, and he's like.
he's fine.
Good to
He's
go.
Namor. No,
Yeah.
that one's fine.
That's literally what it was. She probably just stuck him in the water, and he was chilling.
Probably. But they form an alliance. Shuri kind of just. Yeah, I put that
Sort
in
of.
quotes. Yeah.
We'll see.
Because his whole thing, my dad asked me, as we were walking out, he goes, "So is he a bad guy or a good guy?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah.
Yes,
he can be both.
He is.
But he's very territorial. He's like a black, not as just completely a menace to society as Black Adam is, but Black Adam is territorial,
Yes.
but he's he can be good. That's Namor's whole deal.
Right. I think so.
So will he be good or bad? Yes.
Probably
So
both.
Just yes.
Probably both. At
Yeah,
some
but
point.
with how the movie ends, with Shuri just kind of goes off on her own to live with Nakia. And
Yeah, so
That's the best part of the movie.
I guess.
honestly.
I guess that leaves M'Baku as the king of Wakanda.
Which does that mean he's going to get the black?
Because he steps forward and challenges for the throne, but they never show
there's
up
nobody
anybody
there.
else.
So he's going to be king. So there's only one Black Panther. So he won't be Black Panther because
I don't. I guess maybe he'll become another Black Panther,
I want to see a
or like
it'll be a different.
different.
I don't think so
Panther?
though. I don't
or
think
probably
they'll
just sticking to be a regular ruler.
stick to M'Baku
Maybe.
because
Like how-
M'Baku's
like
strong.
how
they just
He's strong as
and
is.
just let Shuri be the Black Panther.
Maybe.
But obviously the tradition is not as like important to him anymore because like they make a callback to that after mom dies and like
After mom dies.
mother dies. They make a callback to that. Shuri brings back the like she calls herself a child who scoffs at tradition, which is what he said to her in the first movie.
Child who scoffs at tradition.
Yeah, there's a lot of good callbacks to the first movie.
Yeah. But like the very end of the movie with oh, that reminds me actually before we forget. I am really annoyed Ross didn't have a bigger part in this movie.
Whatever. It's Black Panther.
That's
He had a
just
bigger
the funny
part in the
white
first one.
colonizer.
I do like Madame Hydra though.
Yeah.
So she's
I actually liked her.
she's going up the ranks of. So that was my thing is I was like, wait, she's the director of Shield, but no, I forgot that he works for the CIA.
Yeah.
So she's the So Hydra controls the CIA right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Apparently Hydra.
And then
just never
in the comics they also end up taking control of Shield again, in the comics. So
That's actually one thing I was very iffy on. It's just that whole storyline with Ross and Madame Hydra was just. It felt very out of place and not necessary.
in this movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
In this movie, it was not necessary, but like he funny white man.
Yeah.
So that
He was one of my favorites in the first
Colonizer.
one, so I was kind of upset we didn't see him.
my favorite
colonizer.
American colonizer.
He was one of my favorite parts of the first movie, and I was a little upset we didn't see him play a bigger part in
Whatever.
this movie.
He wasn't a very large part of the first one.
I'm not saying he was, I'm
there.
just saying he was one of my favorites.
It's whatever.
He white man.
Not a key role.
I wouldn't be so annoyed if just most of the parts he was in, aside from like telling them where Riri is, just everything else he was in after that just felt very out of place.
I agree. I think they didn't have to have him in as much as they did.
Yeah.
There was a cop subplot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a couple cops uploads.
I planted those beads there. Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Honestly, until you reminded me of it, I forgot all of that was there. That holds the movie down a little bit.
The only thing good about that is that it's revealed that Ross used to be married to Madame Hydra, which is kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really like all that stuff.
It was there. It was there.
They could have left it out, and it probably would have saved the movie like 20 minutes.
They could have left it out, and I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah.
The music is good as always.
I
I don't think there's gonna be a Marvel movie where the music is like, oh, this wasn't good.
Ludwig Göransson is solidifying
Ludwig Göransson,
especially because
solidifying himself as one of the best modern composers.
Yeah.
He didn't
top notch.
He didn't really get the chance to do the same thing he did in the first one when Killmonger. He did it once.
A lot of the themes were reused.
Yeah,
they were really
but when
good.
Killmonger was on screen in the first one, it was like a hip hop beat because he's from Chicago mixed with like that tribal thing. He got the chance to do that once, but like the rest, it's
some
good.
of the credit music had some of that kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
It's nice. Not that song.
Right before the credits, when we get all those. Right before the credits, when we get all those flashbacks to Chadwick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the best part of the movie is the opening Marvel credits. That's the best part of the movie to me, honestly.
Which I don't think we touched on this in the Black Panther review. I think they changed it to be that same credits in the first Black Panther on Disney Plus.
They did.
I think really? We just never touched on that.
Was it purple also?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And it's completely silent, which I like.
Yeah, it's like
a lot of that movie was quiet.
Yeah.
A lot of the movie was
a lot of
dead silent, and it let them act without
without
swelling
the
music
of,
behind you.
Without the help of
Yeah, like how they changed it on Disney Plus for the first Black Panther, just it all being Chadwick, and in Captain Marvel they do the same thing for Stan Lee, which we also didn't talk about. But it's just you have that at the beginning of this movie, and then the very end where it's also complete silence. Shuri's remembering Chadwick, and it's just like you feel it. Like watching this movie, you know something's missing, and you know who's missing, and just right in the feels.
It's tough. No, it hits you. That scene gets you.
That's honestly what forgives this movie a little bit. Is it did what it wanted to. I'll talk about it more whenever I do my score.
Yeah. But the one post-credit scene where T'Challa had a kid.
T'Challa has T'Challa.
Yeah, a kid named T'Challa.
So really good kid actor, actually.
What's the timeline on that? So, like, when...
He was with his kid for less than a year before he died. I've seen a video about that. So
because this movie takes place a year after he dies.
The kid is, yes. So the kid is born, like, when Thanos snaps, basically.
Which means Nakia survived the snap.
Nakia survives the snap, so the kid is born right before the snap, so he's 6 in this.
He's gone. She's a single mom.
He barely met his dad.
She's a single freaking mom. He comes back 5 years later.
He comes back 5 years later and dies less than a year later.
And then he pretty much dies less than a year later, so he like hardly
he barely met him. That I saw a video about
because the Queen said it had been 6 years since Nakia had left.
She just left like snap. Yeah.
And then
I saw a video about that. It's really sad.
Yeah.
He never got to
that is tough.
He never got to fully know his kid.
Right.
It's so sad.
The only thing he knows is the only thing he's gonna know of his father's stories.
Mm-hmm.
That is fairly sad actually. Wow, that makes that wow.
Yeah, I saw a video about that earlier
But
today.
having the kid be named T'Challa and knowing
what was his name that she?
He had a Haitian name. It was
Tucson.
No. I think it was like Tucson because it sounded like Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
But I like that his name is T'Challa.
T'Challa, yeah.
And
but knowing who's going to be coming in the next Marvel movie, they can usually pull, like you said,
everyone's like, he's 6, how are they going to do this? That's what I said to him is, it's Kang.
Yeah.
Literally anything can happen.
Yeah, I just hope
that
they don't do that too quick and bail on Shuri.
Because
I think Shuri's
they'll give her time in the
What I think should happen is, I think they should do that in, like, Avengers 5.
Right.
I think that should be
a little bit.
I think that should be a good time to, like, if they want to do some wobbly, timey-wimey, make him an adult.
I like how you called it that, too.
Yeah, so do we want to get to overall thoughts now?
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and go. I overall really enjoyed this film. I think it has been one of the better installments of Phase 4.
Yeah.
The acting was phenomenal. Really from everybody. Yeah, I overall really enjoyed this. Acting's great. Soundtrack's great. The action's super fun.
Let's have the same score, yeah?
The new characters are great. I was a little bit put off by the pacing at first. But after collecting myself, I'm not as shook. But there definitely was some pacing issues, I felt like. And
that was what you said, is you had to like think and
I had to stop and process.
Yourself. Yeah. That was
I didn't really like the whole cop side quest.
It's there.
It's there, it's whatever. But I'm going to give this a flat 8.
Bingo.
Okay.
It's literally exactly what I was going to give it. I'm flat 8. Like, which one's longer, Batman or this?
Batman. Oh my god.
But Batman almost feels
shorter because the pacing is so
good. Is good.
And it works incredibly well.
Correct.
The redeeming stuff about this movie is it did exactly what it wanted to. This wasn't supposed to be like this is a stereotypical Marvel movie. No, they needed to make this a different kind of movie, and they did.
It was different.
It was, yes, the pacing could have been a lot better, yes, but I think the emotional moments and the acting just being fantastic make this a good watch.
Yeah, agreed.
So that was literally the number I think I told you 8 flat is what I was going to give.
You were saying 8 or 7.
I think I said I was going to give it 8 flat was probably what I was going to give it, and 7 the lowest, but yeah, I'm going to
7 I think is as low as this movie can go. I also really like this movie. The pacing really brings it down for me, though. There were a lot of moments when I was watching it when I found myself just very bored and just wondering when it was going to be over, and I don't like that with movies. Like, if I'm constantly
That's a good way to look at it, wondering when it's going to be over.
Yeah.
That's not a good... Whenever you have to do that, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
While there may be a lot of good parts in this movie, it's just... The pacing is just really not good. And if I find myself constantly looking at my phone and wondering when it's going to be over, it can really bring... And I did that with this movie. It really can bring a movie down for me. Now...
My dad fell asleep a couple times.
I almost did.
I had to poke him.
I almost did.
It was during the quiet scene.
No, I was snoozing a few times. I was like, oh, don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep.
And yeah, I like this movie, but it's just nowhere near the level of the first one. And I'm gonna say a 7.5.
Okay,
that's fine.
That's
totally
fair.
I think because the emotional moments in this movie, the character development, the villain, the action, I think all of that helped boost it up from like not being like lower 7 range, but the pacing were better, I would give it an 8, but it just...
But thank the Lord they didn't just completely drop the ball.
Yeah,
That would have been bad.
Like,
And
even with me
completely
saying that, I'll still say this is the best Marvel movie of the year, but the bar wasn't super high, so... But yeah, that'll do it for our review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be our ranking of Phase 4, which I have it written down in mine. Well, the notes are in there, but it's fine.
Is this the end of Phase 4?
Phase 4, yeah.
It is?
Yep.
Yeah, Quantumania is the first
of Phase 5?
And that's February.
Shoot.
So be sure to stay tuned for the next MCU review in February, which will be one of my most anticipated movies of next year with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And stay tuned for the next review, which is going to be a video I didn't think we'd be doing for a while, with our 200 subscriber special review of the Spectacular Spider-Man. Stay tuned for the Phase 4 ranking. We'll see you guys next time. Later, Webheads.